This lesson is going to go over slope. We started talking about slope yesterday, and we noticed that we could prove that two lines or two similar figures were similar because of their slope of their sides. So we talked about the triangles. And the change of vertical over the change of horizontal was what we talked about. And we know that vertical is talking about our y's, so going up is positive, going down is negative. And with our horizontal, these are our x's, and we know that going left is negative and going right is positive. We also talked about that this could be called rise over run, or the changes in y's over the change in x. One thing we didn't talk about is the letter that they use to represent slope is M. I know that sounds kind of weird, but anytime you see M, they're asking for what is the slope. We want to leave slope in simplified fractions. If we get a whole number like 3, we can write it over a 1 as 3 over 1 to know that we go up a positive 3 and to the right positive 1. We can also leave it as just 3. Remember that our equivalent fractions, if we get something like 2/4, is the same as 1/2. Which is also the same as a -1 over a -2. So really pay attention to your signs and always put it in simplified version. So there are 4 types of slope that we have to identify. So yesterday we talked about 2. Positive, so as we see this one here, leans and points to the right. So it's pointing towards the positive numbers. If you think about a little person and you're reading left to right and you go walking over to it, and you hit this line the first time, you would have to climb up it. This requires energy, so think of positive, you have to climb it. And then here, if we're reading left to right, and I'm a little person, and I come up to my graph, and I'm walking, and I see I hit that line the first time, I am actually going to slide down it. This is slanted down. You can see pointed down. It's also leaning to the left or towards the negative numbers. This is negative. Okay. We have 2 other ones we didn't talk about yesterday, and the one at the bottom here in the red, notice that it is straight across. Well, if we were a little person and we were skiing, we talked about yesterday, and he had little skis and he was going to ski, he could ski this. It would be 0 fun. This is a slope of 0. We could do it. It has a slope of 0. It's easy. It's like a bunny slope. Whereas we look at this one here in the blue, and if we were a person and we got to this walking up, obviously we could not climb it straight up vertical. If we were at the top of it and we were going to ski down it, we would die because it's actually vertical. Our skis wouldn't even hang on to the side unless we had some magic powers. So we would end up, it's a big splotty mess down here at the bottom. So this is called no slope. And another thing you may hear this called is undefined. Okay? All right. So these are our 4 types of slopes. So you've got to be able to look at these and identify slope based on these, just their look of them. So now we're going to talk about how do you find exactly what the slope is. So here's an example. If we look at it and we're a little person and we start walking up to it, obviously we're going to have to climb it, so we know that it's going to be positive. So now we got to find out exactly what is the slope. So we're going to find 2 distinct points on our line. So you want to find exactly where you can hit a point that's on a coordinate. So maybe here, and then I could find another one that's truly on a coordinate, maybe way down here. So this is where we can do our triangles. So we can make our triangles. We already know it's positive, and then we can check to see how many did we rise, or how much is our vertical. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is a positive 11. And then let's look over. We're going to the left. Excuse me, that's not positive. That is a negative because I went down. Sorry about that. So that is a negative. And then this one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I went to the left, so that's a negative 8. So my vertical distance is negative 11 over negative 8. Obviously, those negatives cancel out. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so this is the same as 11 eighths. So our slope of this line is 11 over 8, and it is positive because we would have to climb it. We know that it's positive because those negatives canceled out. We could also look from another direction. If we go from the bottom up here to the top, we would then be climbing up 11, which would be positive, and then over positive 8, we would still get 11 over 8. So here's another one. If I look at it first, we can see that I would get up to it at the beginning, and I would have to slide down. So this is pointing down or leaning towards the negative numbers. This is going to be a negative slope. So let's think about what it will be. So let's find 2 points. So here's a distinct point, and we can find any other distinct point that's on a coordinate. So if I look, this one's a distinct point. So now I can make my little triangle, and I'm going to then count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4. We went over right on the 5, and then we went down on the 4. Or you can think if we started at the bottom, we went up and then to the left. Regardless, this is a vertical, goes on top. It's tall, it's standing tall, it goes on the top. And then 5 is the horizontal lazy one, it goes on the bottom, it stays on the bottom, laying down. So this slope is 4/5, and we look and see, well, which way is it going? If I hit it first as a little skier and I hit the line, I would actually slide down. It's pointing down, so I know it's negative. So if I think about doing my rise over my run, my rise went up, so that's positive, and my run went negative. This is the same thing as saying 4 over negative 5, or we could say negative 4 over 5 if we went the other direction. Regardless, it's negative 4/5 is our slope. Now here's one where we talked about we had 0 fun or 0 slope. So let's talk about why that's 0. So if I pick 2 distinct points on this line, here maybe, and I don't know, here. And I think about how much did I rise? Well, I didn't rise any. So I have 0 as my vertical, and then maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, well, when I go over, anything that is divided into 0 or 0 divided by something is always 0. So that's why I have 0 slope. These are horizontal lines, and they are written very differently, and they are written as whatever axis they cross, and in this case, a horizontal line crosses the y-axis. This is y, and where does it cross? Well, we have 1, 2, 3. It crosses at y equals 3. So we write horizontal lines as y equals whatever line they cross. In this case, y equals 3. This one goes straight up and down, and this is a vertical line. This is when we don't want to ski down, so we know it's no slope or undefined. But why is it no slope? So if we find 2 spots, any 2 that we want, here and maybe here, and we think, well, how far is it from one to the other? So if I count up, 1, 2, 3, 4, I went up 4. How far do I have to go over? Well, I went over none. I moved left or right none, so that's 0. So my vertical change was 4 from those 2 points, and my horizontal change was 0. So therefore, 4 divided by 0 is undefined. And if you put that in your calculator, you would get an error message. It would say undefined error. So we know that this is no slope. You write these as what axis they cross. In this case, this is our x-axis. And we look here and we see where does it cross at x. So 1, 2, this we write as x equals 2 wherever it crosses the x-axis. If it crossed over here, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. would be x equals -5, and so forth. Now, this is a little bit of a challenge. You'll see some of these. So this is where you're given the slope, so m equals 1/5, and you're given a point. So you're going to first plot the point. So -2, you know, these are our x's, and these are our y's. So -2, 1, 2, and then we're going to go up 2. So here we go, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. So here is our initial point. And then we are going to make sure, let me erase those lines there. We are going to make sure that we extend our slope based on what they gave us. So this is a positive 1/5, so we're going to go up, and then we're going to go to the right 5. So 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would put us right here. If we wanted to extend it the other way, we'd have to go down 1 and then left 5. Remember, those are the same thing. They cancel the negatives out and we get 1/5. So we go down 1, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our point would be here. Then we can take a line and connect it, and we have created a line, a slope with 1/5 going through point -2, 2 right there where we started. And then sometimes you have 2 points that are given, and we're going to come up with other ways where you can find the slope of 2 lines, especially when you have big numbers. But for this one, we're using graphs. So we're going to go ahead and plot both of our points. So we have 3. Remember, these are our x's, and these are our y's. So 1, 2, 3, and then up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1 point here. And then we have 2, 0. 1, 2, and we don't move any out all on 0. So here is our other point here. Now, if we want to then find the slope, we can go ahead and connect those 2 lines, make a straight line, and then we're going to go ahead and draw our little triangle that we do. So we're going to go right through here. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and 1 over. And this is positive. When I get to this line, I would have to climb it, so I know it's positive. And I went up 5 and over 1. So the slope of our line, m equals 5. All right, you have some practice to do in Edge Elastic. It will be due on Wednesday, so do your best.